this deformation on the current collector to see whether if there is a delamination of the film, it should affect the nature property of graphene also. So what we did, we conducted Raman spectroscopy in all the cases. So this is the Raman of as grown graphene layers on copper. So what we found, for 50 nanometer thick film, the ID by IG ratio, the ratio of intensity of IG peak, which ID peak, which comes around 1350 centimeter inverse, and the IG peak is maximum for this case, for 50 nanometer, whereas it is minimum for 100 nanometer film. Again, indicates that toward the electrochemical stability of the film. Okay. Okay, so now after this case, what we did, we tried to explore different kind of shape memory alloy, the buffer interlayers, and we tried to go with shape memory alloy. Okay, so why the reason why we chose this one, as I already told that when you apply load on the shape memory alloy, so initial austenite phase convert into martensite, and when you remove this martensite phase, convert back into austenite. Okay, and during this around 8 to 10% stress generate, which is enough to accommodate the strain developing in silicon film during the lithium storage. And one more thing, it is inactive toward lithium. So you can see the pure contribution in stress coming from your active material itself. Okay. And there are a couple of examples available in the literature where people have, impregnated these NITI particles in the silicon matrix, okay, and try to increase the electrochemical cycling. In some cases, they sandwich silicon this NITI layer in the active material. So again, the question comes, the similar questions which were not addressed with the with the graphene also, like what will the stress magnitude, what will be the stress profiles, what will the mechanism of stress minimization, how the stability, what will be the stability of silicon film. And one more thing, it is believed that when you use nano size NITI, so this martensitic phase transformation, like austenite to martensite phase transformation, is difficult. People believe it is. So we wanted to see that if suppose if we use a NITI film in this order, whether that will show this martensitic phase transformation or not, and if yes, then what will be its reversibility. So as I told that we deposited NITI by pulsar deposition. So where average particle size was around 55. It has equiatomic ratio of nickel and titanium, which is very critical to achieve safe phenomena. And when you deposit silicon film, you will see that the smooth surface morphology appears. And we try to look at the interfacial adhesion by nano stress test, and we found that the adhesion of silicon film with the current collector was similar to silicon directly deposited on current collector. So if we look at electrochemical cycling of these silicon films with and without NITI shape alloy, you can see that as already we have discussed a couple of times, silicon without NITI or graphene, the capacity drastically fade even after like 10 cycles. Okay, so this is the after 50 cycles, you will end up with hardly 10% of 10% of initial reversible capacity. But when you use NITI shape memory alloy, you will see that even after 50 cycles, you have approximately 80% of capacity tension. So this indicates toward the contrasting difference of the presence of NITI shape memory alloy. It means like your NITI shape memory alloy is buffering the stresses during the electrochemical cycling. Okay, and if you look at the rate capability responses, rate capability means like you test your samples at different current densities like C by 5, C by 10, C by 2, C, 2C, and 5C. you will see that even at higher C rate, you will significantly have capacity retention, which is very difficult for allowing kind of electrodes. Okay. Now, now we have just known that the presence of NITI is significantly affecting the stress behavior. That's why your electrode is performing really well. But how to see that? How to see the phase transformation? Okay. So to see that phase transformation, we conducted XRD measurements during the charge discharge cycle of silicon films deposited on the NITI shape memory alloy interlayers. So this experiment we conducted in RRCAT Indore. So what we can observe here, the initially austenite phase, here you can see, initial austenite phase with the progress of lithiation convert into martensite. You can see the shift here. Convert into the martensite, and during the delithiation, it again convert back to austenite phase. Okay. So this is a clear indication that when you apply when the load is generated due to the lithiation, the initial austenite phase convert into martensite, and when you release the stress by delithiation, these films convert back into austenite phase. Okay. However, if you look at here, you can see that the complete reversible of martensite phase back into austenite phase is not occurring here. Okay. Okay. So, and we also don't know the stress accommodation mechanism. Okay. See, similar to the previous examples, in initial during the initial lithiation, compressive stress got built up, but here you can see that at around 1 GPa, there is a small hump. At progression, upon the progress of lithiation, you will see the plastic deformation or and stress release, similar to the previous example. But during delithiation, in the maximum region, you will see that there is a stress plateau in the stress profile. Okay, so this stress profile, this stress plateau, what we believe is due to the martensite to austenite phase transformation here. Okay. Then we look at the second cycle profile. So in second cycle stress profile, what you will see around 1 GPa, you will see one stress plateau. In the first cycle also there was a little hump, but that was not visible. But in second cycle, this is clearly visible. So at 1 GPa, there is one hump, one flat plateau. So this is due to the austenite to martensite phase transformation. And there is another plateau around 1.3 or 1.3 GPa. So this is due to the plastic deformation of silicon film. Okay. Then in during delithiation, you will see again a stress plateau. This is due to the martensite to austenite phase transformation. And you will see that with the progress of cycle in the ninth cycle, you will see the magnitude associated with this first plateau is getting decreased. Like here it was 1 GPa, so now it is 0.8 GPa. And you will see that the second plateau is almost disappeared. So here from here we can see that with the progression of cycle, the plastic deformation of silicon is getting diminished. Okay. Now, what we did further, so the length of associated with this first plateau, okay, here we calculate the time, and with that time we try to calculate the capacity associated during this voltage plateau, and we look at the trend over the cycles, and what we found over the cycle that the capacity associated with this first plateau is decreasing. So it indicates that with the increasing cycling, the efficiency of stress accommodation by Martin, this NITI layer is getting decreased. Okay, so this is due to the formation of irreversible martensite phase. Okay, which is also confirmed by post-cycle postmortem of the cell. Okay. So this is the conclusion from this study that due to the continued formation of this martensite phase, the capability of stress accommodation is decreasing in NITI, and which is like major region of significant capacity failed even in the NITI buffer silicon films. So similarly, we compare the surface morphology of electrode at different voltage points, and which is already done in the previous example. So we can see after first lithiation, both the films remain crack free. Okay, but after first dilithiation, after first complete cycle, you will see that silicon film has severe cracks, and after many cycles, you will see the delamination also. Okay, but in the presence of NITI, the film remain crack-free during first lithiation, but at the first dilithiation, similar to the previous example, it has cracks. And if you look at the film after many cycles, you will see that this film is strongly adhered to the current collector, so that you will not see any delamination kind of events. Okay. So now come to the next example where we try to test silicon films for sodium ion storage application. Okay, and we try to look at the effect of thickness of silicon and how the presence of graphene affect the sodium storage behavior in silicon. Okay, so moving to further, it is very interesting to see that the sodium storage in graphite is not possible. Okay. Thermodynamically, this system do not allow the storage of sodium in the graphite. Okay. Also, people believe that people were also believing that silicon doesn't store sodium. Okay. But when you look at the phase diagram of silicon and sodium, you will see that it can form various forms, and up to sodium 1 silicon 1 phase can be formed. And there are theoretical calculations suggest that instead of sodium and silicon 1 form phase, it forms a phase which has 0.76 sodium with 1 silicon. Okay, and with this phase, people have calculated that the volume expansion is around 100%, and the diffusivity is of the order of 10 to the power minus 10 centimeters square per second. So this phase diagram suggests that silicon can store, but the experimental studies have shown that it does not store sodium. But there are recent couple of studies with the very fine silicon nanoparticles, which has crystalline silicon and amorphous silicon particles. So in this study, it was observed that both amorphous and crystalline silicon particle uh, can alloy with the sodium and can store sodium. So these indicates that is there any possibility of sodium storage in silicon? Okay. So for to confirm this one, we check the sodium storage with amorphous silicon film with different thickness and in the presence and in the absence of graphene. So what we found for thicker silicon films, the initial sodium storage capacity was very minimum. But with the progress of cycling, it increases and it reaches to a peak value, and again it gradually decreases. So the reason in this film initially reason of low sodium storage capacity which gradually increase and then further decrease is that for thicker film initially filled sodium storage take in very little amount, and eventually the silicon film get pores, and the pores are formed and silicon film fractures. So due to this fractures and pores, the sodium storage increases up to a maximum value. And for 50 nanometer, okay, and for thin silicon films, which is denoted here by the dark, the solid squares, you can see that from very beginning itself, the sodium storage was significant, and the trend is gradual decrease with the cycling. But when you compare these two within the presence of graphene, you can see that even in for thicker film in the presence of graphene, you no need to have activation. Okay, from beginning itself in the presence of graphene, you will see a significant higher amount of sodium storage, which can further triples in the presence of graphene for 50 nanometer thick film. So from here we can see that for thick amorphous silicon films in the absence of graphene, you need activation. You need to activate your system by the means of formation of pores and crackings and all those. But for the thicker films in the presence of graphene, this activation is not required. Okay? So due to the presence of graphene, what we found that the presence of graphene suppress the activation or transport limited properties of sodiation of silicon, and in the presence of graphene, it can provide additional sodium pathways to allow the silicon film. Okay. Later, we calculate the sodium diffusivity, the diffusivity of sodium in amorphous silicon, and we found that it is much lesser than what the people have predicted previously. And uh, yeah, and also we found that to confirm the sodium segregation at the silicon and copper interface, similar to the case of lithium, where lithium got segregated at the interface very very beginning, like from the beginning itself of the lithium. We found that in this case also, similar to lithium, sodium gets segregated at the interface of silicon and graphene. Okay, so due to this segregation here, you can what will be there? There will be two way of sodiation of silicon, one from here and second one from this interface. So that is the reason that you have significant amount of sodium throughout the thickness of silicon. Whereas in the absence of graphene, you will see that the the uh, the distribution of sodium is just on the surface of silicon, not in the inner of the silicon. Okay? So that is one of the evidence that uh, uh, in the presence of the graphene, sodium segregation takes place at the interface of silicon and graphene, which positively help to attain more sodium storage. So now move to the last part of this presentation, where we especially designed the silicon nano architectures. So for this case, what we did, we fabricate the core cell silicon nanowires, where you have a crystalline core, and around that you have amorphous cell. Okay? So in this study, what we did, we tried to look at the sodium and lithium storage, and we try to investigate the role of surface oxides and material dimensions on the sodium behavior. Okay. So in this case, in the first case, we tested these specially designed silicon nanowires, which has crystalline core. You can see the dark line in the center of these nanowires, surrounded by the amorphous shell. Okay. So we confirm this by SID patterns, and you can see that on the surface of this amorphous shell itself, you will see a native oxide layer of thickness, say 5 nanometers. So these nanowires were grown by hot wire by vapor liquid solid method by hot wire CVD technique, and we treat these nanowires with the different uh, modes. So in one case, what we did, we used this crystalline nanowire. We kept it in the open atmosphere without any precautions. In second case, we immediately after synthesis of this nanowires, immediately transfer these nanowires in controlled chamber, like in argon atmosphere, so that the surface should not get exposed to the oxygen, and there will be no oxide formation. In third case, what we did, we kept these nanowires in without any care, and we treat these nanowire with the hydrofluoric acid solution. So with this treatment, the surface oxide layer was got removed. And in fourth case, what we did, we annealed these nanowires uh, in at higher temperature, and so that more surface oxide layer should grow. So from here you can see that for as deposited sample, where we didn't care the nanowires, and for annual samples, you will see that there was silicon oxide having higher oxygen content was present. But in silicon nanowire treated with HF and directly transferred to controlled chamber, you will see that silicon oxides and suboxides having low oxygen content are present. Okay, so when we compare the Coulombic efficiency for these four cases, we found that silicon nanowires not which were not handled without care has shown maximum Coulombic efficiency. Like in certain cases, it shows nearly 98% also. But the silicon nanowires which were treated by HF, where the oxides layer were completely removed, it has uh, uh, Coulombic efficiency around say 87% in the first cycle. So this scenario indicates that the surface oxide and that IS and contents are very critical to achieve in initial Coulombic efficiency as well as the longer cyclic stability of these silicon nanowires when you cycle it against lithium. Okay, and also, when you look at here, that for silicon nanowires which were treated by HF, the impedance contribution due to the SEI layer formation on the surface is maximum. While in the presence of oxide, the SEI layer formation on the surface is not that much. Okay, but due to the absence of these surface oxide, the SEI layer growth is huge in this case, which can contribute immensely to the impedance of the overall cell, overall electrode. Okay. Then in next case, with the similar nanowires, what we did, we tried to cycle it against sodium system. So in this case, what we did, we systematically we kept the diameter of crystalline core, which was around 25 nanometers, but we systematically vary the thickness of the cell, like from 220 nanometer to we vary it to 4 nanometer. Okay, and we compare the sodium storage behavior in these two extreme cases, one in the thicker cell, one in the thinner cell. Okay, you can see that for thinner cell, the sodium storage behavior is multiple fold than silicon, which has thicker amorphous cell. So again, it is clear from here that for thicker for amorphous silicon, for even amorphous silicon, for thicker dimensions, the sodium storage is very difficult and similar to crystalline silicon. But with the nano dimensions, you can increase the sodium storage even in silicon. And one more interesting observation, we found that uh, even upon the storage of sodium by this amorphous shell, the crystalline core of these nanowires remain preserved. Means it did not participated in the sodium storage mechanism. Okay. So this was the like overall work and a couple of examples with the sodium and lithium storage, with the stress measurement and role of interlayers, role of dimensions, role of surface oxides. So now come to the summary of this presentation. So this with the graphite electrode limited capacity and lithium plating, which pushed dendrite formation are the major issues. Uh, which can be sorted out by the alloy based electrode, but alloy based electrode themselves that has their own serious challenges which need to be addressed. However, the internal layers can minimize the stress mechanism, can significantly affect the stress mechanism and stress generation in the silicon films, and it can improve the structural integrity. Uh, Also, the addition of silicon films in the presence of graphene is weaker, and it may help in supporting bed during the course of structural development. And when you apply NITI film, nanostructured NITI film, even reversible austenite Martin side phase transformation is possible in 150 nanometer thick NITI film. However, this huge stress in silicon film can cause irreversible Martin side phase formation, Therefore, one should need electrode engineering. Okay. Then silicon has shown sodium storage behavior, which is transport limited for bulk amorphous silicon. However, it can be it can be minimized with the reduction in the dimension. Also, silicon nanowires uh, also, like with the use of interlayers, we can increase the sodium storage capability of silicon. Okay, so now come to the acknowledgement, which is very much important whenever you present. So I would like to thank my PhD supervisors, Professor Mukhopadhyay and Professor Aslam, and my research collaborator, Professor Sagar Mitra, Professor Gusane, Dr. Balaji Mandal, Dr. Srihari Velga, and various funding agency and analytical facilities at IIT Bombay. And I would like to especially thank Dr. Kunal Bose and faculty of Metallurgical Engineering Department at MNIT for giving me this opportunity to present my work and interact with the young generation researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for this wonderful session about the electrochemical storage, and obviously, thanks for sharing your PhD work. So one must have the idea, might have got the idea that how or what kinds of work or how to start a research, or how to think rather, or how to uh, get the results, on how to what we can say, the comings or the learnings from that, how to extract that. So thanks for this. Now we will move on to question answer session. So there are lots of questions from Mr. Pritam Paul. So that can be a one-liner answer also. So I guess he's not from metallurgy background. That's what I can understand. And this field is also new to him, like most of us. So he has asked to explain few things like low modulus interfacial layer. Yeah. So I'll ask one by one, and you will please explain it, or in one line will also be fine.
Oh, okay, so low modulus interfacial layers means suppose silicon low modulus means like softer materials. Okay, so you have a material, have an interlayer which is softer in mechanical properties. It has low modulus, low modulus, so that it can easily deform. Okay, so that is the meaning of by low modulus interfacial layer. Soft as compared to like hard material, will have high modulus, but low softer material will have low modulus. So that can be like metallic film. It can be like conducting polymeric film. So with the these like low modulus film will help.
Thank you. So the next one is he wants you to explain lithiation and delithiation.
Lithiation and delithiation means okay. So lithiation means when your silicon, like if I talk about this case, when silicon react with lithium, that called lithiation. Okay, when lithium stores in some material, when you talk about the batteries, when lithium stores in an active material, in electrode material, that calls lithiation. And when you remove lithium from that electrode material, that called delithiation. So here, when silicon react with lithium and form silicon alloy, this process is lithiation. When this silicon, lithium and silicon alloy convert back into silicon upon the removal of lithium it called delithiation.
Thank you. The next question or the query he has is about monotonous stress release. So what do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah. So to show that, okay. So okay. So here in this case, okay, I think pointer. Okay. Okay. So by monotonous stress release, by meaning was here you can see that when the stress is building up, but suddenly it drops. Okay, sudden drop. But here it first increase, then it flatten, then increase, then steadily drop. But in the presence of graphene in this case, you will see that it is continuously releasing. It is not coming to the max, increasing and then decreasing and then increasing. Okay, so this is the meaning by continuous or monotonous stress release in this case. Monotonous means in only in like one tone. The tone is not changing during the process. If it is increasing, means it is increasing. It is decreasing, means it is continuously decreasing.
Thank you. Mr. Avdut Godbole has asked, so why the stress calculation is important in the cell, and his continuation question is, and why and what are the important effects of stress on the cell performance?
Okay, so I already discussed that why the measurement of stress is important. Okay, so if it is important because if you have the idea of how much stress will be generated in your electrode, okay, so you can accordingly engineer your electrode. Okay, suppose if a thick continuous film of silicon has experience around 2 GPa electrode, which is eventually get fractured and delaminated, and your performance get vanished. Okay, but in another case, if you have a similar thick film, but which has patterns instead of continuous nature. Okay, in that case, what will happen? Due to the presence of these patterns, the gap between the pattern can accommodate the stresses or volume expansion. So in that case, you will have lesser degree of stresses. Okay, so that is why it's important. One should have the idea. Okay, how much stress is generating, at what value of the stress this electrode will get fractured, so that you can accordingly restrict the upper cutoff and lower cutoff voltages of cycling during the cycling. So this is very important. And what second part of this question?
The second part was, what are the important effects of stress on the cell performance?
Yeah. So as I already have discussed, like important effects. First of all, if your electrode having higher stresses, it will cause the further lithiation of your allowing electrode. If your electrode experiencing high stress, then your current collector may also undergo plastic deformation, which is not good for the interfacial property of your material and the current collector. Thirdly, the more stress can affect the electronic conductivity of the current collector as well as your active material. Uh, so these are like couple of consequences of stresses.
Yeah. So next question is from Mr. Dhananjay Vaghulikar, sir. So please explain the low angle misorientation again.
Low angle misorientation is okay. So I think I do not have that slide here. So okay. So anyway, like the exact image I didn't include. So mm, by nature, copper, the as received copper has low angle misorientation. How I say, like the orientation, the the misorientation, like near 1 degree around. Okay, uh, but when upon the cycling due to the huge stress, misorientation changes from 1 degree to up to 5 degree. Okay, so you can see that these these green and dark red regions are due to related to the misorientation having high angle, like say 5 degree, whereas the blue part are you cannot see any the colorless part is due to the misorientation having low angle, like around 1 degree. So this is in that way, but in the presence of graphene, the misorientation, the low angle misorientation do not change even after electrochemical cycling of silicon.
Thank you. Dr. Surajit Ghosh has asked, can the phase changing material be used as a cathode material without using silicon at all?
See, whatever example I gave here is all are anode materials. Okay? So in cathode, like all the cathode materials which are being used, those show phase transformation. Okay, if you take lithium cobalt oxide, if you take lithium iron phosphate or lithium NMC or lithium NCA, these all materials has show single or multiple phase transformation. Okay?
Uh, yeah, so desodiation is when sodium ions left. Okay, so that is the thing. Yeah, so Mr. Kaushal has asked, can we design material as per special purpose applications oriented, and what is the probability that design material will perform satisfactorily?
Yeah. This is very much important. Like if I take example of say crystalline silicon, okay. So in crystalline silicon, if the maximum lithiation take place at 110 plane, whereas the lithiation at 100 and 111 plane is minimum as compared to 110 plane. Okay. So suppose if your film is 110 oriented, so you will have maximum degree of lithiation. Similarly, if in the case of suppose say lithium cobalt oxide, if suppose your film is like I forgot 000, I forgot the orientation. So the peaks, if suppose your if your film is preferred oriented, so that orientation will definitely will help you to achieve more capacity, less stress, and what I say higher kinetics. If I say example of say graphene also, if suppose you have graphene parallel to the current collector, then your kinetics will be slower. But if you grow your graphene film vertically, then your kinetics will be faster and you will achieve even pretty high capacity even at higher C rate also. So this is pretty much necessary and necessary to design the electrode orientation. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Surajit Ghosh has asked, please discuss something about dendrite formation.
Yeah. Yeah, so dendrite formation is a critical issue. Like okay, so what happens in graphite electrode? Lithium stores at really very low voltages. Okay, up to say 0.005 volt. Also, lithium stores. So at repeated cycle, what will happen? Lithium gets so this voltage is very close to lithium plating potential. Okay, like very close to zero voltage. At zero voltage, your lithium deposit in the form of metallic lithium. So during the cycling, what happens? This lithium, upon the lithium, continued lithium plating and just a minute, continued lithium plating and stripping on the graphite electrode. Uh, the lithium, the smooth lithium the plating convert into spongy lithium plating. Okay, and over the cycle, this spongy lithium convert into in the form of sharp needle kind of structure, those called lithium dendrites. And over the cycle, these sharp lithium dendrites penetrate the separator and touch to the cathode, and your cell gets short circuited. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, Kunal, perfectly.
So next question is from Mr. Sunil Divekar. So he has asked, the stress order in gigapascal is a very huge stress for a material to sustain. So what is the certainty with which the stress was measured?
Yeah, okay. So definitely this magnitude of stress is very high. So for silicon, the yield point is around yield stress is around 1.3 or 1.4 GPa. So if the magnitude of stress is higher than that, your material will get drastically deformed. It will yeah, permanently deform. Okay. So that is the like one way of one reason, one consequences of these high stresses. Yeah, of course, material can sustain because with the high stress, it will deform plastically. Okay, and due to this plastic deformation, stress will be released. In case of say graphene, in morning I told that the stress magnitude measured is around 11 GPa, 10 to 11 GPa. Whereas in graphene, in graphite, the magnitude is just 200 MPa or 0.2 GPa. So yes, this stress is not favorable, but what we can do?
Yeah. So the next question is, what was the purpose that crystalline silicon core or amorphous silicon core can uh, can different core be used in such cases?
Yes, yes, yes. So the reason behind choosing crystalline core and amorphous silicon, especially for the case of sodium storage, the reason was it is already well established that crystalline silicon doesn't store sodium. Okay, so having crystalline core in this case and amorphous shell, so this crystalline core will provide mechanical support to the sodiating crystalline sodiating amorphous shell. Okay, it will provide you mechanical support as well as the electronic conductivity of crystalline core, crystalline silicon is more as compared to amorphous silicon. So it will give you, it will act as a secondary current collector also, which is directly connected to the main current collector, means SS film. If having amorphous shell, amorphous core also, uh, I think it will just the mechanical support will be hampered. Otherwise, there should not be any effect.
Yeah. So I guess the last question is, can you please explain graphitic carbon with alloying reaction based anode materials?
I think in morning session, this candidate didn't listen. The graphitic carbon do not show alloying reaction. Graphitic carbon shows intercalation or insertion kind of reaction mechanism. So in graphite, what is there? Graphene layers are there. Okay. So lithium stores between these graphene layers. It do not form any, silicon carbon kind alloy kind lithium carbon alloy kind of it doesn't form. It simply intercalate between the graphene layers. It do not show alloying creation.
Yeah. So next question is there any stress imbalance if different core is used with amorphous silicon?
Uh, 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 we did not measure the stress with this system, but this is really interesting question asked by the student. One should look at with varying the thickness of with that varying the diameter of core thickness, core varying the diameter of the core. Definitely, like one should look, but we didn't measure the stress with these silicon nanowires. So.
So the next question is, could you please give some linkage of these material characterizations with respect to energy storage as an application?
See, nowadays, like in energy storage material characterization, what I am, seeing that if the characterization is done in situ, like in open characterization is mostly people favors to understand the mechanism, the kinetics of the reaction. Okay, so to understand that this in situ stress measurement is one thing, in situ TM, in situ XRD, in situ neutron diffraction, and nowadays in situ calorimetry. These are a couple of advanced techniques using that one can understand the reaction mechanism during the electrochemical cycling of these electrodes.
Okay. So does NITI has any lithium storage capacity?
No, not at all. I already told that it do not react with lithium.
Okay. So,
So,
yeah.
so that's why like we can, yeah.
So,
Yes, no.
so Dr. Manoj, can you please share your contact details, either mail or whatever you prefer, if somebody wants to contact you and discuss the things further? Because lots of
Yeah,
queries are there, so that they can discuss with you
yeah,
even after this session.
I can, okay. Then I will share my mail ID and contact details with you, so you can circulate with your students.
Sure, sure. Or else you can type it into the chat section for just time's sake, just your mail ID if you prefer that.
E- Yeah, so ID is
Yeah, so Dr. Manoj had just posted his mail ID so that if any one of you want to know further about his research, about the topic and discuss with him, then you may please contact him on the mail ID. I know many things are going on at Dr. Manoj sir's end. So I am really thankful to him for sparing time to deliver such a nice talk and with very insightful discussion session as well. With this, I again thank Dr. Manoj for agreeing to speak to such a large audience and explaining all of us and giving insights about this wonderful topic of energy storage. So with this, I close this session. So thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you for
yeah.
giving this expert talk.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone.
Thank you. So to the participants, now attendance link will be posted. Yeah, so it will be active till next 10 minutes. Meanwhile, if you face any connection issue, then you can click the screenshot and send it to me personally and not on the group. Yeah.